NHS. So I just want to walk through the run of events that happened this week, and then we'll get everyone's take on it. Essentially, on the NHS's website, they said September 28th, we're getting the deal. Now, all of us in the community, I don't think anyone definitively said it's coming out on the 28th. I know in every video I made, I said, look, guys, it says the 28th, but governments are governments and shit happens. And so you definitely expected that it could have been delayed, but September 28th was the tentative date. September 28th happens, we get no deal. Okay, cool. We get no deal. Government's delayed all the time, whatever. However, a couple of events happen in between. Number one, Foxglove, an organization that we all know for the past 2 years has been religiously trying to campaign against Palantir getting this deal for whatever reasons they have. You can agree with them or disagree with them, but that has been their motive. They shut down their social media. They said, look, we're coming off of social media, and they did that the day that the Palantir contract was supposedly going to be announced. That was really interesting because the one big campaigning arm that was against Palantir shuts down. I mean, I don't think there's any other organization. There's articles here and there, but this was a coordinated attempt from a media organization for Palantir to not get this deal. They're out of the picture. Then today we get an update that the deal is delayed until October, mid-October. And in the meantime, the NHS has announced a £2 million campaign to essentially educate consumers on what's going to be happening with their data with the FDP, because it seems like a lot of articles are suggesting that UK citizens may opt out of putting their data into the FDP because of all the stuff they've been reading about it. They're afraid of their data being exploited. And then the federated data platform has no value because Palantir can't do anything unless they have the data. So right now we're up in the air. Do we have the deal? Do we not have the deal? There's other companies in the UK like Contexta that now entered the bidding process, and one of the former NHS directors is now part of their staff. I still don't know if the deal is even decided or if the deal is done, but by mid-October, we should know if it'll happen. Just a lot of stuff has happened in between. Let's start with Arnie. What was your take on this entire saga?
As I mentioned previously, the fact that there is some drama is what makes the journey really exciting. We are just the narrators of this drama. Without the drama, we wouldn't be here probably, because everything would just go very smoothly and there would be no question marks. This NHS is a big question mark that theoretically, as a reminder, it should have been rewarded last year. 1 year later and some months later, we still here debating that. The big problem is the public perception, probably, and also a component due to a merger of the existing provider of software from the NHS, which was just acquired by United Health. That complicated stuff even more. So I would say better. So far, it is annoying to see this saga. So far, we don't have any real hint that could damage the probabilities of actually getting the deal done, apart from a lot of noise, especially from those guys from Foxglove that actually made this very, very weird move. My simple reasoning is why should you drop your campaign right now? Like, basically, your only task is what in Italian is rompere le scatole. Like saying, being loud to, hey, we want to annoy you to prove this point. Why should you stop communicating if you are so close to get a victory? Implicitly telling me, okay, maybe they are realizing that their entire campaign against Palantir is basically a waste of time and waste of money. So annoying, always too delayed. I think everyone kept asking in the last months, when the NHS, and now unfortunately we still have to say, okay, still stay some week to wait. But at the end of the day, we waited for more than 1 year. 2 weeks is nothing.
Dom, your perspective on everything going on with the NHS?
I like what Tom said. I'm just reading it verbatim. He said, I think the NHS 500 million contract for Palantir is a done deal. They just haven't announced it officially yet. Why? The NHS needs Palantir more than Palantir needs the NHS deal. Equals deal gets made. I would agree with that. Obviously, things can go sideways. There's a lot of political, drama in Europe when it comes to data. It'd be nice to have it, but it's not the end of the world if they don't get it, because you look at what they're doing with the U.S. healthcare system. You look at HCA rolling this out to 9 different facilities, and they've spoken at 2 AIP cons, and now they're saying, hey, in the next couple of years, our goal is to go from 9 hospitals to 180 hospitals, covering 90,000 nurses. Proof is in the pudding. I mean, the U.S. healthcare system is using it. It's just really more of political drama behind what the European government likes with data and data protection and their different kind of compliances, and they just have a different philosophy on things. But what's really interesting is that they're so hell-bent on, zero trust and all these different compliances. Palantir was built with the security first principle and has some of the best security capabilities for role-based access and controls on who has access to what data and how the data is used and how it's actually documented. So it's just kind of like for me, it's like an oxymoron. Like, if you're really concerned about how your data is used and then that it's secure, you would actually want a platform like Palantir over, let's say, a Microsoft or whoever.
Do you think there's any chance that they've decided on someone else, or do you think it's really likely?
But I mean, they've had Palantir in there for quite a while, so I mean, once again, switching costs would be high.
Yeah, and one other piece of news I forgot to mention is that today United Health, an American company, bought EMIS, which is the legacy software the NHS has been using to input patient data, for £1.2 billion. So another level to the story is that acquisition, it was held up in the UK competition courts. Eventually, it got resolved literally this morning. That might have needed to happen as well for this deal to officially be announced, which is something.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much pressure they're putting. Obviously, the deal would be substantial for short-term results, but their focus is in North America. I mean, where the growth is and in commercial.
Yeah. Arnie, what did you think about? Do you want me to share your screen or?
Yes.
Okay. You can talk. Then I'll ask.
Actually, this is a comment I received that was published months ago, actually on Yahoo Finance, basically explaining that point. EMIS Health runs all the NHS software. United Health is merging, so it delayed until October, November. Then Palantir will be using EMIS as its delivery system. How this guy knows? Basically because he's very close to this. I work for EMIS, supporting NHS software across Northern England. I've known about this for a year, and it was originally meant to be done in May, June. Basically, they just need to wait the merger to be completed. It seems it is a deal done. Obviously, it's always difficult to give a legitimacy to a random comment from someone that has not really skin in the game in terms of official reputation. So that was something that was dropped months ago. So it is weird to think, okay, this guy actually knew this was legit. So maybe like afterwards, seeing right now the completion of this deal says, okay, maybe this guy is right and knows what he's saying. Let's just wait and see.
Okay, let me ask you this question. Why do you think this morning the New York Times came out with a piece that starts with "A secretive U.S. tech firm pushes towards the heart of UK healthcare"? Any thoughts on this New York Times article? Arnie, we'll start with you.
Because that's what could catch the attention.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the simple reason. On the military side, what catches the attention is, think how cool the AI is doing on the battlefield. That's the next level thing. On this NHS part, if they made an article, look how Palantir cool is saving lives, is, yeah, okay, interesting, but not so much. But what about a secretive US tech firm pushes toward the heart of the UK health service? It's like, okay, I need to read this. I mean, and
clickbait.
Clickbait.
I mean, they are in the job of getting attention. So as I pointed out, it is annoying on one side, laughable on the other side. For instance, skimming through the article, I didn't see any mention of the real actual results of Palantir. Like all these articles that want to put a negative light on Palantir, unfortunately, they never focus on they reduce the time to get the first visit done from cancer patients from weeks to 1 week. They saved 20%, 30% efficiency on cost. So the things that truly matter are never mentioned, but the fact that Peter Thiel backed Trump, that's always a good selling point for the article. So same stuff all over again here.
Dom,
another good example of that is Arnie posted just a day ago. Morgan Stanley started coverage in 2020 with a $13 price target. 3 years later, now it's worth $9.
Oh,
wait a minute, what happened in 3 years? 2 times the amount of revenue, 4x, 400% the clients, and they're GAAP profitable. And then he puts experts in a funny emoji. It really is. It's mind-boggling how people just want attention and the manipulation and kind of just how institutions and big money, skew things, the media. That's why I've been watching a lot less and less CNBC and other media on. I try to stay upon what's going on news-wise, but even then, I'm just like, I just care about my company. So, I'm watching more of your guys' stuff on YouTube and catching more of what's going on with the companies I care about. But great points there, Arnie, on that post.
Thank you. So this is exactly the reason why I was very happy to learn to be an analyst. I worked as an analyst for more or less 2 years in order to learn the skills, but more importantly, to understand how analysts work and potentially to capture the flows on what it means to be an analyst. And the unfortunate truth is that analysts, at the end of the day, are very close to the sales department, the trading department. So they need to sell the idea. So in order to make the career as a good analyst, it is more important you generate fees, you keep attention on, rather than actually being right. Being right is a nice thing to have, but it's not truly what drives your career as an analyst. It is true that the conditions were very different. Back then, when the guy said at the DPO, this company is worth $13, the growth was way stronger. The interest rates were way lower. So the WACC, the discount rate, was way lower. That created a condition where the models implied a very rich valuation. But I think this case definitely shows how different it is, the perspective from being an analyst with no skin in the game, where basically your job is write the report, tell something that catches the attention, and if you are not having anything interesting to say, basically you are writing for nothing. And when you are an investor, you are skin in the game and you need to be right. So my experience as an analyst told me what are the limitations, and I learned basically how to spot these stupid flows and exploit them as an investor.
Yeah, no, it's fair. I mean, it's a lot of sensationalism going around. And this goes back to my point that like Tesla gets just destroyed by mainstream media. And I think Elon a couple years ago just decided, you know what, I don't care. I'm just going to build a great company. And the fact that some of the obviously big media outlets want to bring you down, I think it just points to the fact that they're doing something important if you're going to have all this hate, right? It's the classic cliche that, if you have haters, it's because you're doing something that's worthwhile. I don't see Snowflake getting this type of hate, or Databricks, right? They're just seen like the crown jewels, and they might be great investments, but transformational, I don't know. Seems like
how come nobody cares of Snowflake right now? One thing I said a couple of months ago is that like it or not, love it or hate it, everybody's talking about Palantir right now because it is interesting. So I think also that helps the spread of the product. Maybe initially it is not that easy to get into clients, but at the end of the day, having this sort of controversy helps the clients that really want to understand better, getting closer. At the end of the day, it's like shareholders. If you know that something is valuable, but in order to understand it, it is really valuable, you need to study, you automatically filter the people that are just there for the surface, or someone who really wants to get closer to the company. And remember that Palantir is not really seeking clients, is seeking partners with which to build operating systems that gradually expand and take entire verticals. And we have seen that all over again. For instance, Palantir just released an hour video with a demo with Jacobs, where we can see how this partnership from a couple of years ago is gradually expanding. They created this platform, Aqua DNA, and now they are expanding that to even like 5-6 other applications. So I'm really excited to see that, and the fact that these employees are super happy. You can see it from how they speak of how things are evolving.